gang. Thanks for dropping by. Today we're going to do another hammock. It is the Mounchain Mosquito hammock. Comes in at about 9 foot long, just shy of 9 foot long. Comes in right around 5 foot wide. Does have a mosquito net on it. Mosquito net is this color here, which is a real loud lime green. One thing I don't like about it, real loud lime green. The hammock itself is made of a green color, and it's kind of a green blue. Not a bad color, nice color, but this net needs to be changed. It's made of a nylon taffeta material. Comes in at about 2.4 pounds, a little heavy. And the reason it's in this bag this big is because it has spreader bars in it that come with the hammock that you pop into the cavities and hold the net open on you. Nice feature to have. Anyhow, let's take this thing down to the table. Let's open it up. Let's get some of the things out of here, show you what's in here, and then we'll take you out on the patio on here, and we'll set it up and give you a real close look at it. But here it is. Let's open up and get some of the stuff out of here and show you what we got. Comes with a couple hanks of cord here, and it is a stretchy shock cord. At least they put the good stuff in there. And this is for holding the ends of the net out. And then they skimped on this and came up with trash. This stuff is really useless. We will not be using that. Comes with 2 of these steel carabiners. And here's the hammock. You can see the material it's made of. It's comfortable. It's like most of the inexpensive hammocks we're seeing these days. The color's not real bad on this thing. However, this here, and I'm not sure how it's going to show on your screen, but this is a lime green, very bright green. Sad choice of colors, but what the heck, you know, it's what you get. All right, let's get this thing out on the patio. Let's get it set up. And then one last thing before rather than going through and editing that whole thing I just did, just wanted to show you, this is your spreader bars. Comes with 2 of them. They are a fiberglass type bar. They have a rounded end on here. It's a hard plastic, but it's a rounded end, doesn't catch on anything. And you get a couple of these things. They're held in with a bungee. Can't lose the halves. And they're about 18 inches long, I would say, maybe a little longer. Now let's get out to the patio. So let's have a look at this. Being 9 foot long, it still looks a lot bigger. And from inside, trust me, it has a feeling of a larger hammock than a 9 feet. And of course 9 feet again is not really small, but it's not giant. Let's start this end over here. We've got these tie-outs that pull this net up and pull it taut. That will probably be changed as one of my mods I will be doing on it. Down here we've got one of these carabiners, which really are worthless. I just don't like these things. So, you know, some guys like them; they're okay with them. To me, I just don't care for them. The problem is right in this area here, where my thumb is, it catches on the webbing and kind of, you know, rips at it a little bit, and it kind of, you start pulling threads out of it. You don't want that. Also, I never cared for having this short here. I prefer to extend it a little bit farther. Although this is better than I've seen of most. Most of them have this beaner right here. I mean, it's just right in the center, right at the edge of this thing, and that's not a good thing to have. You see that it's triple stitched. Let's see if we can get this thing in the sun. There you go. All triple stitched, and it's done nicely. I mean, it's not a whole bunch of frays hanging out. We got a little here in the end here where the finish is, but that's okay. That's normal. This is the odd thing on this thing, is this material runs all the way up and around here. It's good for keeping the wind from getting on you. It also works as a shade thing. I mean, you can see here, I think it's in the sun. I'm Southern California here. And I was laying in it yesterday, and I had my head back up underneath this area here. and kept my head from feeling all the heat. Of course, the rest of me felt it, but it was just one of those things that did keep the sun off of you. On the top here, we've got these nice pockets, very nice pockets. They run the full length of the thing, and they split in the center here. We have a pole here that actually comes apart and goes in like so, and you spread it out and then you lock it in place. And there are these fiberglass poles, that tent poles, something we've all seen. Zipper comes to about here. I'd like to see it go all the way to the end. However, this is fine. If this was a two-sided zipper with zippers on both sides of the thing, I definitely want it to come all the way to the end. Now, they're not the high-price zippers. They zip okay. They feel a little tighter than most, but they do zip okay. I don't get a problem with it. And you'll notice that the bag does not hang on the side. Here's the bag right here, which is an oddity, because we're seeing almost all these hammocks come with the bags on the sides now. Same kind of stuff here on this other end. And you see I'm using my daisy chains. And these are what I recommend people, unless you're backpacking and you're looking for weight, but if you're just going to be using your hammock in a normal fashion, you're not going to be worrying about weight, these are what I recommend, and everybody has them now. Their price on these things are all over the place. You don't need to pay a lot for them, because I've got some of the expensive ones and I've got the cheap ones, and they're both the same. Identical. The only difference I've seen in these things basically is the width here, and then on some of them this threading is a reflective material. Here's the ropes that originally came with it. Let me get these out of here. Sorry about that, guys. These are the ropes that originally came with it. I guess they're going to be tossed out. They're not going to be of any value to me. Let's open this up and take a look inside here. All the way down to the end here. It's quite a ways down there. It is a single piece of material all the way across. The zipper, you can tell by looking at this, the zipper is kind of wavy on the material here. It's not a real high quality zipper. That's kind of to be expected. And they did roll it over here when they caught it in here, and it's a nice even cut on the net. The netting is cut straight across. It's not all zigzaggy and hanging out here and there. They rolled it over nicely, and the sewing is very well done there. It's triple stitched here around the top. Let's go around to the other side here. Now on this side here, they've actually captured the net inside this thing here, and they hemmed it over. And I did have a chance to get a gander inside what's going on here, and they actually roll the net inside so that we've got a double piece of material as this thing goes through. So that's a nice plus, because a lot of them just lay this like so, lay your hammock net there, and just run a seam through it, and that's it. This looks like it's going to hold up a lot better. Alright, here I am inside. As you can see, I've got a fairly nice flat lay. I have done no modifications to it, which when I do put the ridge lining across inside this thing will have a lot more control over the sag of this thing. I'll even have a nicer lay in it. As you can see, I got a good 2.5 feet down there away from my feet to the end. And above me, there's about a foot to a foot and a half in area there. Not getting much in the way of shoulder squeeze here. It kind of surprised me, because most of these hammocks are like this, so you have a lot of shoulder squeeze. This is not really too bad. The netting is not as fine as a lot of them are here in the United States, or at least in the West where I'm at, and maybe the northern states. You wouldn't have any problem with these small bugs getting through. You might down south on the eastern portion of the country. Have never been there. I can't say how small their bugs are, but I know the mosquitoes can't get through. We get some tiny, tiny flies around here, and they don't get through this thing at all. So it looks like it'll work fine for us here. You guys over in the UK, again, I'm not sure. I don't know what the count is on this. They don't have the whole count in the specs for it. So, you know, the little bitty guys you get, the midgies, whatever, they might want to find their way through it. You know, I don't know how small those things are. But you'd have to be pretty tiny to get through this. But it is comfortable in here. Plenty of room. Even though a lot of guys say anything under 10 foot is junk or worthless or what have you, you know, I like a 10-foot hammock. My personal hammock is a 10-foot. My go-to one is a 10-foot. Although I started out with a Hennessy, and that thing was about 8.5 feet long, and it was very comfortable, very roomy in there. So you guys have to feel for yourself, feel what you like. Just because it's a little smaller than a lot of guys like, or a little longer than a lot of people like, doesn't mean it's a bad hammock. This isn't a perfect hammock, by all means. It's not the greatest, but I've got it set up with the factory stuff, and that netting, I've got my hand pretty much stretched out. You know, and that netting is quite a ways off of me. That's one of the things that really irks a lot of people, myself included, is the net hanging on your face all the time. This thing here, it all comes ready to go. Well guys, this video is taking a little longer than I had anticipated in getting it finished off and together. So I actually had time to finish these modifications I had talked to you folks about earlier. You can see what I've done here is I added the ridge line to it and moved these from farther up as I had them before, and they now right here hooked into the beaner. By the way, you can see I changed the beaners too. This thing here, that thing's gone. By doing it this way, it's a one type hookup. Just slap it up there and you're done. You can see right here. All I do is just slap it in there. And we're ready to go. Same at the other end. One of the things I hadn't touched on much inside about this before was that inside there's absolutely no storage, and that is something that is very important. I mean, it's ludicrous that they wouldn't think of putting storage in. So I've added the ridge line. You can hang things on it. Got a couple clips on here, a couple mitten hooks, and I like to take these bags like this and punch a hole in the bottom here, put them up in here, and then you can pull this tight if you want to close things off and keep them in there. I usually just pull mine up a little bit. I lay a bottle of water in here, and it just settles in there, and then whatever else I need to put in it just sits in there with the water. This way I have access to it. I do like to have access to my water in the evenings. But it sets up pretty nice. I've done this in a number of my hammocks, and I've done some variations on this too on some of them. And it just basically goes right through here. Punch a little hole in it. I put a little grommet in there and just run it through. I do have to say that this coloring of this net is hideous. I wish it was a darker green or matched the hammock, or better yet a black. I'd even accept a white over this. I know it's probably a fashion statement somebody was trying to make. They seem real proud of it, but I don't know. I just don't like it. But anyhow, I did want to share this since I had it done before I close this out. Well, there you got it. The Mosquito hammock by Mounchain, and on their website it says Newdora, so I'm not quite sure, although I could not find any reference in the Newdora sites or anything to this hammock, but I just passed that along as it was on the Amazon site on their specification chart. Before I get started on how I felt about the hammock, what my feelings are about it, I did want to point out a couple things. First, that as some of you who have watched my past reviews and stuff know that a lot of the stuff I review has been provided by the people who make these things. In this case, it's not. I purchased this one here myself. Wanted to see what it was. It was interesting looking, and it kind of stuck with me. So eventually, I ended up picking this thing up. Now, if you stick to the end of this thing, I'll show you a little trick on how I got this, and how I got this a lot cheaper than the actual cost that was listed on there. The other thing I wanted to point out was when it gave you the specs on this thing, one of the things I did leave out was the weight limit. And I left it out for a reason. If I had told you right up front, you probably would have laughed at this thing, turned this review off and said, boy, that's a hokey thing. And their weight thing is kind of hokey. If you follow on these economy type products lately, like hammocks and what have you, you'll notice that they've been kind of a competition between each other going on as to who's going to have the highest weight rating. Not that these things will ever reach those ratings, but I saw them start to climb past 400 into the 600 range, and then it was 660. Well, these people literally one-upped the 660 by making it a 661 pound weight capacity. Now, can you imagine 661 pounds of human flesh in this thing? That is not a pretty picture, let me tell you. Okay, now to my feelings on this thing. You know, there's a lot of pros and cons on these things. For one person, a pro might be something that is a con to the next guy. We all have our own tastes of what we want. We have our own needs and what have you. I'm going to be giving the pros and cons as well as my rating on the feeling of this thing, my thoughts on this thing, based on its market value and the niche it's trying to reach into. This thing is not trying to be a war bonnet blackbird. It's not trying to be a Hennessy hammock. It's trying to be an economy hammock, a little bit better than the $30 hammocks that we see quite often as entrance hammocks. This thing here retails for a few cents under $36, so I'm going to call it a $36 hammock. Okay. Some of the pros about this thing is it's 9 feet long, and that's a pro compared to some of the 8.5 foot and 8 foot long hammocks is what we're seeing in the economy range. Rarely do we see one that reaches the 9 foot range. For those of you who like a 10-foot hammock, and personally I prefer a 10-foot hammock or larger, this may be a downside to you. I can sleep in an 8-foot hammock and sleep just fine. I'm 5'9.5", and I can get in one of these 9-footers, or my wife has an 8-footer. I can get in her 8-footer, and I can sleep just comfortable as can be. So the size of your hammock is going to be based on your needs and what you feel is good for you. So those of you who prefer a 10-foot hammock, don't call this junk. Just call it a hammock that you don't like, okay? Because there are a lot of people who will go with these. A good example is a DD Hammocks Frontline hammock. That thing comes in at about the same length and width as this hammock does, and I don't hear anybody calling that thing junk. I've never had one. I've never even experienced one, so I can't tell you how good a DD hammock is, but it seems like everybody who has them seems to like them, and dimensions are the same. So keep that in mind. Another positive on this thing is the cord that came to hold the bug net up. They didn't give you some cheap shoelace type stuff. They gave you accurate shop cord, and it gave two large hanks of shop cord, probably 15 feet long or so. I think they said it was a 10-foot hank, but it looked like to me it was a lot longer than that. They give you a good size hank of cord. Kind of a classy thing to do. Instead of giving you the cheaper stuff, they could have gone with the cheaper stuff, but they went with that. To me, that is a plus. The material that this thing is made of is basically the same stuff you're going to see in the hammocks that are the $30 hammocks. You're also going to see the same stuff in the $40 and $50 hammocks. So the material is not any better or any worse than any of the other ones. Okay? The quality of the way this thing was made, though, is impeccable. For an extra $6, I mean, the $30 hammocks, you look at them and you can tell they were slapped together trying to meet a price. For an extra $6, this thing here got itself into a position where it is a lot better in quality. I mean, the way that all the seams are sewed, there's no skipping, there's no frayed ends, none of that kind of stuff. I think in one spot there was like a 1.5 inch area where the line, instead of going straight with it, one of them kind of went up and down, back in again, but nothing that was out of range where it wasn't doing the job it was supposed to do. The bug net was captured, as opposed to just the cheaper ones. They take your hammock, then they take the bug net and they bring it down and they run a seam through it. Okay. On this here, what they did is the material come up, then came down, and then the bug net goes into it, and then it pinches it, catches it, and it actually rolls the bug net over and then catches it and then sews it. Okay. My opening hammock, the first one I ever had was a Hennessy, and I got exactly 2 nights sleep out of it out in the wild, and the bug net started coming apart because they did not roll it over and capture it inside. They did capture it, but they didn't roll it over, and it was like so, and it just kind of slid right on out. Got a piece about that much out, that big on it, that came out on me, and I've actually never gotten it repaired. I've got to start picking these things up and like them so much that I'm not going to bother fixing it. I'm just going to leave it in the bag and just leave it as it is. Let's see. Another good thing, I've got a little list here because there's no way I'm going to remember these things. Another nice thing I like about this, it's a pro and it can be a con, is, as you remember, the bug net was here, and at the ends here, rather than having netting, it had material in there. If you're looking for something, you need a wind break, you need a water break. You're going to be out rain, it's a rainy thing, you can be underneath your tarp. Water could be coming in sideways, it's the wind going sideways on you. This thing here is going to keep that stuff out. The con to that, though, is you lose visibility. So you're only got the bug net to look out of, and everything behind you can't see, or anything by your feet you won't be able to see. So that's kind of one of those things we have to determine whether you want it or not. If I ever use this, I probably never will go out in the wilderness, but if I ever do, it'll be when I know it's going to rain. I may take it along just to try it out there. I have tried it out here in the yard, on the patio here when it rained, and no water got in here. It got wet, but it didn't get in here. Okay, now one of the cons on this thing is the rope that they use for the suspension. You know, a lot of the inexpensive hammocks are giving you this cheap rope. You know, I just chucked it. I have my own daisy chain stuff I use, and if you folks have your own, you're probably going to want to use your own suspension. If you do the whoopee sling thing, which a lot of guys do, and what have you, if you've got one that's detachable from your hammock, fine. If you've got one that's permanent to the hammock, you may want to make another one for this, but use your own. Toss that stuff they give you out, or use it to, you know, tie chairs together or something. Who knows? Don't use it for this, okay? Lack of storage, a big con. There is no excuse for not putting a pocket. Take some of that extra material you got sitting around the factory, put some pockets in it. There's no excuse for not putting a pocket in these things. You got to do that. The next one is bug net's color. This is personal. I don't like a lime green bug net. Okay? The green on the hammock itself is really great. It's a really nice color green, but the bug net is lime green. A lot like this here. It may not show up in a video as lime green, but trust me, it is lime green, and that is something I just don't like. So that's the pros and cons of it. The value of this thing, is it worth the $36? Yeah, price-wise, it's worth the $36. Would I buy it for the $36? Probably not. And the reason why is, let's just take, for example, you get your $30 hammock, your $29.95, and that kind of thing. So your $30 hammocks, which is a lot of entry hammocks, this is better quality. It has a few items that make it worth the extra $6, no doubt about that. But if you're going to spend $36 on something like this, why not spend another $4 to get yourself to that $40 price range, the $39.95? I'll give you one example of a hammock that I know of that personally have a lot of experience with. It's my go-to hammock. And it's a Equip hammock, and I actually got it from Walmart of all places. Equip makes hammocks, and they do sell them in a number of locations. But Walmart is the one where you find most of them. It is like this hammock a lot, basically. It doesn't have the material behind you, and at your feet it has the bug net carrying all the way through. But it does have a real nice spreader bar system on it. It has zippers on it, both sides. The zippers go the full length. It's also an 11-foot or 10-foot hammock rather, and it's a bit wider than this. I think it's like 5.5 feet, close to 6 feet wide. It's wide, a little wider than this one, and longer than this. So for $4 more, why buy this? step up and buy the other. Now, the price on this thing has gone all over the place. Its normal retail price on Amazon is just shy, a couple pennies shy of $36. I have seen it on eBay for a $54 range. I've also seen it on another one of the online retailers for the $68 range. By all means, don't even consider it those prices. It's crazy. I have also seen this go down to the $30 range on Amazon. Recently, it went back up to about $35, and today I checked it just before I did this, and it's July 5th today, 2018. And I went and checked on it, and it's currently unavailable, so they're sold out. Now, are they sold out because they wanted to get rid of them? Hard to say. Are they sold out because there was a high demand on them? That's also hard to say. When it went down to 30 bucks, a lot of people might have bought it. But we'll have to see. I have seen it go out of circulation for a while and come back. So this may come back again. I will leave a link below as to where what it is, and you can go and see, and it may come back if you want it. The fact that I don't believe that you should be buying this, you should spend the extra $4 on something else, is something that kind of puts this out of the market. Another thing too is you can get a number of different hammocks that are sold in the same price range that are probably better. One Tigers comes to mind as one. I've not experienced a One Tigers hammock. Everybody who seems to have them seems to like them, and they seem to the quality is good. And it's also a 10-footer, so it's a little longer than this. So there you look at one that's $35 to $40, depending on which car you buy. You might want to look at that too. I hate to badmouth it because it's really a nice hammock, but at 36 bucks, $40, whatever, there are better ones out there for that price. Now, one of the things you're going to say is, well, then why did I buy the thing? Well, here's why I bought it. And if it comes available at this again, you can buy it, and you should. This thing cost me $10.80 delivered. I got it through Amazon, but I went to a place called Vipon.com, and I'll leave a link down below to Vipon. What you need to do on Vipon is go to Vipon. In the search bar, put in hammocks, or put in anything you're going to look for, anything you're going to be buying on eBay, on Amazon. Go in there and search around for the hammocks, and then go through and look. When it pops up, you should look what's available. This thing kept popping up at $10.80, and I didn't want it at first. The second time around, I didn't want it. The third time around, I kind of looked at it and said, you know, I'm kind of interested in it. Like 10 bucks, I can't go wrong, so I bought it. I'm glad I did, because I'll use it in the yard here, and I do use it in the yard a lot because it's Southern California. The sun beats down on you, and you can use that material up here is kind of shade, and that works. Another thing is, I purchased, excuse me for a moment, here's another item I picked up the same way. This is a tarp, and I'm in the process of doing a review on this, and this will be coming up, the review of this will be coming up shortly after this one. And this thing cost me under $7, I think it was, or right around $7, $7 or $8 for this thing. It is a 11.5 foot tarp by 9 feet wide. It's a hex cut tarp. Not the greatest tarp in the world, but not a bad tarp, and not real heavy. So I will be doing a review on this one, finishing it off. I've got most of the stuff done on it, but I got some more shots to do outside, and right now it's over 100 degrees, and it's not even 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's going to be 118 to between 118 and 114 degrees today here in Southern California where I live. So this will not get finished today, and it probably won't get finished till next week, but it's coming. So anyhow, if you get this at the $30 price range, by all means buy it. Buy it over those other ones that they're selling at $30 because it's much better than those things. It gets to the $35, $36 price range. If you want to spend an extra $5 and get something good, there are some others out there you can buy that I would probably buy before I buy this. And if it comes up again on Vipon for the $10.80, I think is what I paid for, or even if it's 12 or 15 bucks, by all means buy it because it's worth it. It's a nice hammock, but it's just at that price that it retails for, the competition is just too stiff, and there's too many other things you can get. One thing I like most about my equip hammock, which is only $4 more, is zippers on both sides. You lift that thing up. I've got basically a conventional hammock. My bug net's up here ready to go if I need it. And I'm ready to go if I have to have it. I go to bed at night, I roll the bug net down and keeps the bugs out if I have you. But that, for $4 more, is a much better deal. That's my thought of this particular hammock, and while I'm not bad-mouthing it, I'm not saying total positive things about it. It's a great hammock, it's nice, but again, you think of what's available for the prices. If it's $29 or $30 or less, get this one. Beyond that, then you have to think yourself, do you want to spend more money on the others or not? And some people will not buy a hammock from Walmart. And that's a shame, because I've got 14 or 15 hammocks around here, including the Hennessy and all. And my favorite hammock is a Walmart, and my favorite open hammock is also the Walmart double hammock. They are both just wonderful hammocks, and they didn't cost a lot of money. So, with that, I want to say thanks for dropping by, and watch for some more videos. I do apologize for being a long break between my last video and this one, but I've had 3 or 4 videos in the works, and I just can't seem to get around to finishing them all off. So, thanks for coming by, and have fun out there.